Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boys Mo and Lottie, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, video games, TV shows. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, and also, also, if you're listening to us on a podcasting platform, leave us a 5-star review if that's what you think we would deserve. But any kind of interaction, that would be dope. And we're kind of in a lull week this week for comic book things. Waiting next week for Madam Web. The Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is out right now for you to enjoy. And we're getting some news about upcoming productions for DC and Marvel. So lots of cool stuff going on. Before we get into all of that, let's talk to our good friend, our video game designer and everything, Lottie. Lottie, my friend, what's going on, dude? And what you been up to that's nerdy?
Oh man, I've been playing Tekken, God of War. Still trying to catch up on like the stuff that I've missed with like superhero TV shows and stuff. But yeah, right. Most of the nerdy stuff I've been doing is playing video games. I also am starting to do animations again, so there's that.
Nice. Yeah, I think I told you I bowed to peer pressure and I purchased Tekken 8. Just because look, I don't want to be the only person at school that's wearing, that's not wearing the new Air Jordans. God damn it! So this is the nerd Air Jordans for me, and I started playing it, and I'm garbage. But hopefully, we'll turn that around in the coming weeks. And also, I've just been watching Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, it's been a good time for doing nerdy stuff this past week. But we're going to talk about superhero things this week. It's kind of a small news week, but some big things have happened this week. Some interesting things. In particular, we're going to talk about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's released. It's out in the wild. What do people think about it? And should you be playing it? I will talk briefly about my thoughts on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Season 2. And in my opinion, why you should be watching this show. The Saturn Awards were announced last week. And there were 5 superhero projects that got awards. And we're going to see what those awards were and who they were for. And we also have confirmation from Bob Iger about 3 projects from Marvel for 2025. Then we want to do a couple nerd discussions. One, we're going to talk about actors that Marvel and DC need to lock down for long-term contracts as they grow their cinematic universes. And something that's been sort of bugging me for a while, and probably you too if you like the MCU. What's up with Marvel and the Blip? And why isn't it a bigger part of Phase 4 and 5? So, Lottie, we got a good amount of stuff to talk about, man. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, we are going to talk about... well, you know what? I realized something. I forgot something. I was supposed to add a couple other things, so let me back up a little bit. Lottie, these aren't really necessarily superhero related, but... I thought these were interesting nerd topics. Let's talk about something that's not so cool, I guess, like not good. This is actually the passing of what I consider kind of an iconic actor. You saw this Carl Weathers passed away the other day, over the weekend, or was it over the weekend? I want to say.
I saw it, but let me. Yeah. May his soul rest in peace, man. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, the man who played Adonis Creed in the Rocky movies, but he was also other.
Yeah, Apollo. Well, Apollo.
Adonis. Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
I mean, not Adonis. Apollo Creed. Yeah, it's man, yeah. What like he was one of those like first, he's one of those first actors that like that showed up in action movies and all that stuff. It just man, he, he lived a great life. It's just you just wish he could have been around a little bit longer. But
Yeah, I think he died at 76, and this was
yeah,
fairly, well, not fairly, out of the blue as far as I'm concerned. Like who knew? Like we just saw him like if you're a Star Wars person, just saw him in the third season of The Mandalorian last year, and he even directed an episode. So there was no indication anything was going on. But I think if you're a certain age, you know who the hell this guy is because of Rocky. But I remember him for this movie he did in the 80s, late 80s called Action Jackson. That was just like
yeah,
an over the top action movie. He was also in Predator. He was in Happy Gilmore, which everyone remembers him. He's the golfer with no hand. And he's done comedy, he's done action. He started his career while he went to the NFL for like a year. He was in the CFL, but also when he was in college play football, he got a degree in acting, and so his first roles were in like blaxploitation. So in other words, the man's been acting since the 70s and just involved in cinema and everything like that. I I felt this one. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ever somebody dies and you're like, wow, this person actually has been around since before I was alive, and I've seen them in things, and they're just great. I've never disliked them in anything. In fact, I've loved them in some things. And then just for them to be gone, and it's this. I feel like this is a consequence of getting older. Is suddenly all these people that they've just been a constant in your life, now they're just going away. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
It's
I completely understand what you're saying. It's like one of the ones that I always say is that it's crazy. Like when Kobe passed away, like I remember saying to myself that like, wow, like I don't know him personally, but it felt like someone I knew passed away. It was crazy.
yeah. It's but I do celebrate Carl Weathers, his body of work, just who he was on screen, a very memorable person, and just kind of a real loss. And it's messed up because it's Black History Month too. So like, why we got to lose a legend in my eyes, a legend, at the very beginning. It's crazy, but nonetheless, we do celebrate Carl Weathers and just his body of work. And yeah, rest in peace, definitely. That we're not going to forget the contributions he made to cinema. So, unrelated but unrelated, and this is Lottie. I saw this. Was it yesterday or today? And I was like, I know this is the Supercast. We're supposed to talk about superhero stuff. So technically, we are. Gina Carano is suing Disney. Now you're like, Mo, what the hell does this have to do with superheroes? She was in Deadpool, so like, technically it counts. She was the, if you remember, she was the, I forget the name of her character, but she was the bad guy in Deadpool, the first Deadpool, that ended up getting beat up by Colossus. But whatever. But Gina Carano, Lottie, you remember this? What's this, 2 or 3 years ago? The whole thing that she wouldn't shut the fuck up when going on about her right wing foolishness, which is fine.
Yeah.
You can look. Here's the thing: you can have right wing foolishness or left wing foolishness or whatever, but when your company's like, hey, you're kind of representing us out there, you're doing a bad job of it with your stuff, maybe be quiet and we'll be good. And you keep on doing it, you get fired. That's what happened to Gina Carano. I don't care how anyone wants to spin it about free speech or whatever. The truth is that I can guarantee you in her contract, they're like, hey, stop making waves like this and we good. Otherwise, we're not good. But whatever. She got fired or let go or didn't have her contract renewed, however you want to look at it. And so, hey, that is the way it is in America. You're not guaranteed a right to a job or whatever. And that was that. I thought that was that. But now it turns out that she's like, nah, I'm going to sue them for, wrongful termination and free speech and blah, 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 whatever. Right. That's her, where she's coming at. And because, of course, he supports dumbass shit all the time, as long as you're owning the libs. Elon Musk is, or an X is sort of footing the bill for this. And Lottie, do you know how much she's suing them for?
How much?
$75,000 plus, plus lawyer fees or whatever, and to be rehired and recast by Marvel, or not Marvel, by Disney. That's it. So this big, like, before we even get into like the merits of the case or whatever, she's suing Disney for 75 grand plus getting rehired. Like, does that make any sense, Lottie?
Man, listen,
What?
I heard about it, and honestly, I don't like, to be 100% honest, man. I don't care about it. It just seems like the most wasteful time. And then Elon Musk has gotten involved, and he's looking like there's like people are saying that he's looking that he wants to step in with this other guy and buy Disney. I'm like, at this point, I'm
Lies.
just looking at all of this
What
with
what a
just
what a bunch
not
of
caring.
what a bunch of bullshit. He's effectively ruined the valuation of Twitter, like almost on his own, to the point that he's well in the red when it comes to his investment in this. So like, he couldn't buy Disney if he wanted to, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. And Elon Musk being a shithead that's bankrolling this foolishness. The reason why I want to talk about it is because this has very much to do with business and the intersection of business and politics and everything like that, and how, as the right wing has constantly liked to remind us, no one's entitled to a job, unless you're one of their darlings on that's spouting conspiracy theories and more or less, you know, just being kind of a shithead to people. Then then you are entitled to this job because you're saying the things they like. That's all. It's really all that there is to this. Because Letitia Wright was going through similar things. So was Evangeline Lilly. I mean, there are other supposedly left leaning people that have also sort of faced this kind of like shut up or we fire you situations. And you know what happened? They shut up and they kept their jobs, right? So, and also with the remind, and she had the fucking nerve to be like, "Oh, I'm trying to bring attention to the situation that at will employees have in this country." And I'm like, "Oh, so now because it's fucking with you, because at will meaning you can be fired at any time for any reason." No questions asked and no penalties to being fired, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a lot of people in this country. A lot of people in America are at will employees, can be fired for no reason at all, no recourse or whatsoever. And even if so it's sort of a stupid case in the sense that, and I don't even agree with the at will thing. I'm just saying that's the situation. So Disney could have been like, we're firing you, no explanation at all. But they had an explanation, and I can guarantee you, within the context of their contract with her, she most definitely was fired for good cause. Like, it's not, if that's not in there, then they've never had a cause to fire anyone for doing stuff doing stuff in their own personal life that looks bad for them. So it's just like it's this weird but not surprising hypocrisy coming from her and from people who support her, that says no cancel culture, except unless you're doing stuff we don't like, but also saying, hey, these companies have the right to fire and hire anyone they want at any time because we're pro business until that business is hiring and firing people we don't like. And then suddenly now it's all about, regulating them. It's just this crazy world. And also, it's just a fucking stupid lawsuit. Because like everything is on Disney's side. Everything's on their side, and any kind of proof that she's basically saying, hey, you didn't fire Pedro Pascal for saying something, crazy or whatever or weird that was objectionable, or you didn't fire these other people, and the operating understanding is it's because they stopped, right? Like, oh, they stopped. And your ass kept doing it. Like they gave you all the chance in the world to just shut the fuck up and go to work. And you just like, nah, I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. So either way, and a lot of you are just like, I don't care about any of this. But
honestly, it just feels like a bunch of rich people that are just mad at each other, and it's like I begin to not give a damn about rich people problems.
Yeah, and it's
Now, if
not.
you're a good
Yeah,
person, I'll be sympathetic, but I'm just like, ugh, jeez.
this is just she's basically if she had been, liberal, no one at X would give a fuck about her, because there's this idea, Elon Musk and all of his cult following and people like them have this idea that people on the right are persecuted, and I'm like, yeah, you're self-persecuting, but yes, they're and so this is just another case that they can beat the drum of, we're actually the most discriminated people in this country, and it's foolishness. So either way, I want to keep an eye on this. I will talk about it again because it's that shit needs to be shut down. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about actual superhero stuff now. Lottie, is Suicide Squad killed the Justice League the game of the year in in your eyes?
This is an honest question.
No, sure.
No, it's part of the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that. Listen, Jesus,
Is it an honest question? That's a
listen,
good
man.
that's a good indictment of it.
That game is an abomination, man. And it's just Rocksteady. Instead of trying to do and make the game better, all they did was just dig the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm just saying to myself, bruh, stop. It first of all, they instead of them just to be like, hey, by the way, this is not they decided, hey, like how everybody already was like years before the game even came out, people were hating it. So they're like, yeah, let's go ahead and make this part of the Arkhamverse. Oh. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having game that bad connected to one of the greatest video games of all time? Like, spoiler alert, you killed the Justice League. So that Batman that they killed is the Batman that people grew up playing as in the Arkhamverse. Like, do you know how stupid you have to be as a storyteller to do that to your fan base? That's not even talking about how bad the game is. That's just setting the game up for fucking failure. You know what I mean? Like, and then just the game is just awful. Ugh.
I'm not gonna play it. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely too expensive for the amount of video gaming I do. I'm not gonna play that enough. I like to put it in perspective. Still have yet to play the Marvel's The Avengers game that I've had. I've had for like years. So like
Yeah,
definitely not gonna play
man.
this. But
Listen,
but
man. Don't feel bad. I played the game for like a couple of minutes and gave up too.
well, but this one I was interested because I thought it looked cool. Like at least the trailers or whatever made it look cool. It seemed like it had a good premise. Every Suicide Squad you encounter, comics or video games or movies or TV show, whatever, you should always
Hmm.
be under the impression that that they are definitely in over their heads. They probably all are gonna die, and like if they do survive, it's how the hell did that happen? So it seems like it looked good. It looked interesting, but then I feel like you and I talked about this like a year ago that it had some bad signs, like already, like because they delayed this like a year, right? I want to say they delayed it like a year. Um,
I want to say 2 years.
was it
I,
two
I think
years?
this game was supposed to come out 20. I want to say this game was supposed to come out 2022.
Okay, well, excuse me. It was delayed. Like, excuse me, it's delayed, and but even what we saw, like it seemed like it had some red flags already. So in your mind, have all of those concerns you had sort of come to fruition? And like exactly what you thought would be bad was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. The game original release date was supposed to come out in 2022.
Yeah,
They delayed this game for 2 years and it's still garbage. It's
I was looking through the Metacritic reviews, and I was like, most of them seem to be like, all the trappings of the live service suck, and combat's fun until you do it 10 times, and then like stuff like that. Like it's there's a lot of generic combat that's cool, but it can't sustain this game that clearly wants you to just keep on playing it and grinding away at it, and because of the live service aspect of it. So it
to
seemed,
have 2 years in the oven and to come out like that is damning.
well, is it
Like
but is it at least not, is it at least relatively bug free?
I mean, listen, man. I like here's the thing. I'm not giving a game because it doesn't have bugs any type of any type of clap on your hands. That's your job. You know what I mean? Especially when you got 2 years. The game was awful. It was always going to be awful. Their job was supposed to mitigate as much awfulness it could have been. But instead they wanted to pile on the game. They made instead of just saying, "Hey, this is a Elseworld or some type of other thing." You tried to get the people who bought all the Arkham games to buy this game because they're saying it's canon to the Arkhamverse. It's just the entire game was predatory in way it was set up. It was lazily made. The gameplay is horrible. The AI is horrible, and they only have three enemy types.
Yeah,
To have as much and to spend as much money as they did on the game, it's just an indictment of just it's just not in just movies, just in it's in video games as well. People just the quality control is just god awful. They think they can just get away with getting a base hit or even a home run because the games that the company came out with a decade ago were legendary.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
That arresting, they call it arresting on your laurels sort of situation.
Yeah,
No,
you got to think about it. Their last Batman game sucked too. Gotham Knights sucked.
right. Oh yeah, the
So
the one that just came out. You talking about the Gotham Knights with Robin and them? No Batman.
that came out 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years? I don't know. Hell, I
Yeah,
don't know.
Gotham Knights was
Oh,
2022.
well, that game. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm not surprised by this, but it is sort of disappointing because we don't get a ton of superhero video games. So it is kind of disappointing that this disaster that everyone saw coming from a mile away turned out to be a disaster. So
Do not let this deter you from buying Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is not only an amazing superhero game, it's one of the best games I've ever played in all of my life. Buy it.
right,
Buy it.
and definitely it's not related to this at all. They're not in the same universe.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, sorry, Suicide Squad, but you kind of had this coming. So moving on. Lottie, I'm gonna segue, do kind of this is gonna be a very short semi review. In fact, not even gonna call it really a review. It's more gonna be high praise combined with a plea for you guys to watch this show, and that is the Emmy Award winning Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which its second season debuted on Friday. Last Friday, they dropped the entire season, 14 episodes, and this is a follow up to the Emmy Award winning first season. So, look, if y'all listen to me at all, and you paid attention, it was my number 5 on my top 5 comic book things of 2023. Lottie, you've heard me sing its praises before. In fact, for a year or two before it even came out, you heard me talking about how I thought it would probably be good because it's based on a good thing, and it turned out to be above and beyond my expectations. It's like just an awesome show. So, oh happy day when they dropped the show. Which, by the way, I do wish they had. I kind of wish they had done a week to week thing like they're doing, because it's airing on Disney XD, the cable channel, week to week, but they dropped the entire thing on Disney Plus. Cool. So it took me a few days, but I worked my way through it, and I'm here to report that it continues to be an excellent show. And I understand it may not be for everyone because it is a kid focused show. It has all the trappings of, if you watch cartoons as a Disney or Cartoon Network stuff when you were a kid, if you watched Proud Family, if you watched even DuckTales or any of that stuff, there was always it's a little bit of message and a lot of fun and adventure and stuff like that. But what sets it kind of apart is it's got great original music every single episode. So you got this 14 episodes. Every episode gets like original music. It's also it takes many but cute inspirations, but not direct lifts from Spider-Verse. And I think I've said this about the first season also. It's got its own kind of somewhat Teen Titans Go, somewhat Spider-Verse, but very much a kind of a hip hop. I hate to say urban, but like very frenetic, but also somewhat anime-ish thing. So like I said, Teen Titans Go. And just has top-notch voice acting. It's got, good, good villains, good heroics. You got some original villains. You got some, old, like Molecule Man is one of the villains. The Beyonder is one of the villains. And just overall, between all of that and the family dynamic that's going on, excellent. Just excellent watching. So I think season 2, as a follow-up to the first season, is definitely just continues that same line of quality. And this is the part where I plead to you, and a lot of you are included in this. It's the part where I plead to you. Well, y'all, please go watch this show. What, like, if do you call yourself a fan of comic book things? Because Lottie, this is a spoiler for an Easter egg, but it's got to be said. Do you remember in Thor: Love and Thunder when Korg was talking about how his race procreates, and he was like, two rock guys get together and they hash their little egg or whatever, right? And you remember
Hmm.
that? Do you remember that part where it was Korg and there was another rock guy and he had like a little funny mustache? Do you remember that part, right?
Yeah.
So there is an episode in season 2 of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur where she's she's trying to have this date, like her for this school dance or whatever, and she's talking about like relationship goals or whatever, what she thinks you're supposed to be striving for, but in that, in her little aside, there's these little pictures she shows of like different couples, and it's Korg and the rock guy, his rock husband, and I'm like, so that's what's happened in this show. Look, like Easter eggs and like deep cuts and everything like that. It's a show. Yeah, sometimes you watch a show like if you watched What If season 1 or 2, you get the understanding that whoever's writing this, they not only know their stuff, they love this stuff, and you can just tell they were just kind of like laughing to themselves, writing like, "Oh man, only real heads are gonna understand this little visual gag right here." But if you're a real Marvel head, you know what's up. It's a beautiful show. It really is, and it's a very I hate to keep saying authenticity, but it's authentic in the sense that it has a definite culture and a definite voice, and it's very it's very New York without being like weird if you're not from New York, but also it's very black and it's very like it's there's a Latina character and she's hilarious and important, and then they've got the cutesy but also badass devil dinosaur that anyone can kind of attack. Would you be surprised for a character that doesn't say anything, just makes noises and like gestures, has like all the character in the world? And just Lunella is awesome. There's a whole thing with Beyonder and Molecule Man. Like it's deep cut stuff. So anyway, the point is season 2 is great. Y'all should be watching this show. I don't give a damn if it's a kid's show. Just to put that aside and remember it's going to be talking about Marvel stuff on the real. And the only thing I will say is if you're an anti-woke shithead, it's definitely not for you, because it's just going to have your panties in a bunch left, right, and center. But if you're an enlightened person with good taste and you like Marvel stuff, it's definitely something I think that will hit on the things you like. So, Lottie, so you're I don't think you've watched any of this show, have you?
No.
It's look, if you don't like Teen Titans Go, this might not scratch an itch for you. If it's just
Yeah.
if Teen Titans Go, but here's the thing is, I feel like this has a lot more heart and a lot more actual like character growth and development. Like it really is. Teen Titans Go is episode to episode, they're the same people start to finish, right? And this show, like the first episode is about her dealing with being in an alternate dimension on a kind of a barren world and trying to figure her way out. But she learns and grows, and there's the whole season is sort of an allegory for it's a serious allegory for accepting who you are, and also being feeling free to be who you are to the people that you love, and not to be afraid that they won't accept you because of it. Look, it's an allegory for being gay, or for being transgender, or for just being somebody stop pretending that you aren't that person. But there's a lot going on in it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a lot deeper than Teen Titans Go ever will be. And I just recommend it. But I understand if that sort of thing isn't your cup of tea, it might not hit you right. It may take a little bit for you to be like, okay, I get what's going on here. But I love it, and I think you should give it a try. So, that said, definitely go check out Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur. Let me know what you think. So, Lottie, the Saturn Awards came out. I think it was last week, and so here's the thing. Despite being a nerd and knowing what the Saturn Awards are, I didn't even know that they had a ceremony like sort of Oscars ish. And also, I did not know that they have specific comic book categories. I don't. Were you aware of that?
No.
Yeah. See, I like I said, I knew who they were. I didn't know that this was. I thought it was just like science fiction books or something like that. But no, they cover all sorts of things. So 5 superhero projects did receive awards. It's Marvel Studios, Sony, and DC all won awards. So they were Werewolf by Night won the best television presentation category. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the best superhero film. Across the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, best animated film. And over at DC, they got Superman and Lois won best superhero television series. And Sholo Maridueña won for best young actor in a film for Blue Beetle. So not too shabby, I would say. Don't you think, Lottie? I didn't know they had specific comic book things, but it's still pretty cool that the best television presentation was Werewolf by Night. And Lottie, honestly, best animated, that was a given. Who else is going to win that? So, well, I don't know. What do you think they're, or are you surprised by any of these?
No, I'm not surprised by any of them. Honestly, yeah, we all know who's gonna win. Best animation. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people. I don't know if you saw this also, but they put out the list of Oscar. I think we talked about it last week. But like, and I saw the best animated ones, and I'm like, if Across the Spider Verse don't win this is some bullshit because none of these other animated things are as good as Across the Spider Verse. But yeah, I think it's like a walkover. What do you think about Sholo Maridueña getting that best young actor? Like, I mean, we saw Blue Beetle. You think that was like that's on point?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because it's been a little bit since I've seen
But
Blue Beetle, but
yeah. It was. I love, speaking of Blue Beetle. He's sort of like confirmed, or at least in some way, gave an official, an official like statement on it about, that Blue Beetle again definitely is coming to the DCU, and that he's, sort of been, he's talked with James Gunn and Peter Safran about his role in the DCU going forward. So, I mean, I think which is pretty cool. Like, if there's anything to be said about the death of the DCU, is that at least he gets to crossover, because Blue Beetle was unfairly kind of steamrolled by the death of the DC universe, DCEU. But I think it deserved a lot more, a lot better than it got. And it's too good of a concept to throw away. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, overall, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like best comic book movie, like it's again, was there any question about that? Like at all? I mean, at all? Like by leaps and bounds, it was the best comic book movie of last year, in my opinion. So
I'll say that and Spider-Man were like equal in my opinion, but Spider-Man is animated, so I can understand how they.
Okay, yeah. Actually, let me amend that. Spider-Verse was the best comic book movie, but if you have to split them off from each other, then yes, definitely Guardians was the best live action superhero movie. Like not even close. So, but good on all of these things. I really like that they're getting this recognition. And we'll talk about these again in the Saturn Awards next year. I have a feeling though that the next year's awards they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel to figure out the superhero movie, because this year it's probably going to be Deadpool 3, honestly, but otherwise this year's not looking good. So anyway, we'll talk about that next year, I guess. Another real quick thing, Bob Iger confirms many Disney releases for the next couple years, But in particular, we're going to talk about the Marvel things because next year's, Marvel slate is 3 movies, and they are Captain America: Brave New World in February. May is going to have Fantastic Four, and then November, Blade. So no Thunderbolts next year, unfortunately. So Lottie, hey, look, it's official, and also Captain America: Brave New World, they're going into reshoots soon. Fantastic Four, there's rumors of it starting up. It's filming later this year, which is weird to me actually. I've heard that they're starting up later on in the year, but it's supposed to come out in May. I don't see how that works. Lottie does, because usually it takes about a year and a half to go from filming to actually seeing something on the screen, depending on how much CG is in it. So it seems like, if they don't start filming Fantastic Four soon, we're not going to get this in May like it says. I don't know. What do you think that this is a realistic schedule that we're going to actually get next year?
No. What? No. uh, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be more optimistic, but I know Captain America. Captain America pretty much is. We know that it's going to come out because we know it's been filming. Fantastic Four. I I have a hard time to believe. Blade, get that out of my face. I don't believe that shit at all. Blade at this point, Blade literally, I gotta see that movie. I got to see that movie in the theaters for me to believe the movie's done. I'm not gonna believe, even if they show a first teaser, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's the funny enough, I've been hearing rumblings here and there about it. They've got new writers and everything. They're working on it. I hear tell that Mahershala Ali is get hitting the gym again so he can get back in shape for this. But it really is like the smoke monster on Lost. Like, you keep hearing rumblings of it, and people disappearing, but you don't necessarily know that it's anything to do with this movie. Maybe they just don't want to be in the MCU. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is Blade. So I think you're right. Blade is the most questionable. Fantastic Four coming out in May. Don't believe it. I think it's actually, if it's coming out next year, it's probably going to come out towards September, and maybe Blade will get a Christmas release. But yeah, I gotta see. I'll see some set photos. Maybe I'll start believing in Blade. But yeah. We'll see. Also, they got to figure out Pedro Pascal for Fantastic Four, because they were supposedly officially confirming it today, and then I think it was based on something posted on the SAG-AFTRA website, and now that's been taken down. So now these stories are sort of floating in the wind, but with no backing. So I don't know. What is Marvel? I mean, I appreciate this year, this rebuilding year. It's kind of a lot of, what it is. You know what Marvel's in? They're in that post. They're in that post. Championship rebuilding time. It's like they won the Super Bowl, and then you're like, oh man, is this the start of the dynasty? And then like all the veterans retire, and then free agents leave, and you're like, no, we're in a rebuilding year. Yeah, we got a ring last year. We're gonna be so we're in that one. So this is definitely the year where they go, 4-12 or something like that. and we're just hoping that this rebuilding year means that next year we start, another march towards championship. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we'll let you guys know more about that, all of those projects as more information comes out. So that's really all of our news this week. Again, thin news week, unfortunately, this week. But maybe we missed something somehow. Maybe, you guys have a comment about what we had to say, agree, disagree, or you just want to show some love. Whatever the case may be, get down to the comments section, leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. It's it's blurred_force1 on Threads and on Instagram, and super_not_funny show on TikTok. So let us know what you think. So Lottie, because we're having a shorter show this week, let's do some nerd discussion. Well, news seems to clog up a lot of it takes up a lot of our time, but sometimes just got to get down and do some good old nerd speculation or stuff like that. Comic book man, look, let's be honest here. Comic book movies not at their greatest time. If I feel like, if am I wrong about this? This year, maybe last year, but this year it feels more like 2010 than it feels like 2024. And I mean that in the sense that when a comic book related movie is coming out, there's not a guarantee that it's going to be something that anyone wants to go see or that people are excited about, that people feel like they need to rush out to. Is that a fair assessment, Lottie?
Oh yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, so we're sort of back to a time where the IP is there, the companies are willing, but the audience is sort of getting burned or burned out on these particular things, and it's just because mediocrity or whatever. The best things aren't coming out. Some perfectly fine or serviceable, or even good, but not great superhero things are coming out. And so I say all that to say, hey, before if someone told an actor, oh man, you got to get in on this MCU thing, it's gonna you be paid, you got guaranteed fame and stardom, and people are just gonna love you. That was the MCU 7-8 years ago, and we're not there anymore. Now you have to kind of entice actors into coming to be a part of these cinematic universes. And so to that to that question, I wanted to know, I want to hear your thoughts about this. Who are some actors that DC and Marvel should be looking to lock down for a multi-picture deal to join their cinematic universes? The ones that aren't in there already. And as I said to you in the text, actors to lock in before they come to their senses about superhero things. So Lottie, yeah, I hope I got a list. I only got a couple people, but I think there's more that could be on here. So who do you what's an actor that's not in the MCU or DCU that you think they should go get and make a major part of their pictures going forward?
I always wanted to see.
Who is
I
that?
always wanted to see Denzel.
Yeah. That's not
Find
bad.
a way, find a character to put Denzel in it. Denzel. We've seen Morgan Freeman. So we've seen him. Um. Uh. There's rumors of Pedro Pascal. So that's probably a cop out. Um.
Well, if you say Pedro Pascal, I'm going to counter because I think he probably is. I'm going to offer not a counter, but like well, this only makes sense. Bella Ramsey. This is a no brainer to me. Who of course wonderfully played Ellie in Last of Us, but also she was in Game of Thrones, which I haven't seen those episodes, but apparently she's great in there. She's a young actor. She's got plenty of years ahead of her. Clearly is talented. I mean, I'm not saying I know who she should be, but she could definitely this is a time. This is like a perfect time because she's young, she's super talented, and you could definitely build something around her. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not again. I don't know what character she should play. I just know she should play something within the MCU or the DCU. And I got to remember the DC. They definitely could have talent like that. What you think? Bella Ramsey definitely.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, Bella Ramsey. What's the woman who plays? What's the character's name? The woman who played. Is it Rhaenyra in
Oh, you're
House of
talking, but
Dragons?
Amelia Clark's already in the MCU as and with a very unfortunate character. She's Gaia from Secret Invasion. And
Oh, jeez Christ.
are you talking about? Wait, you said Rhaenyra? Oh, Are you talking about from House of the Dragon? Or are you talking about?
Yes.
Okay, you said Rhaenyra. I was thinking of Daenerys Targaryen from
No, no,
Game of
no, not
Thrones.
to, no, 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 no.
Oh,
Rhaenyra, yeah. No,
okay, Rhaenyra. Oh, well, I don't even know. You talking about the older actor, not the younger one?
both of them.
Well, the younger one's already
The
in the
younger one is
DC.
going to
Yeah.
show up, and yeah,
Well,
she's going to be a Supergirl.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, definitely. In fact, you could just go pluck whoever from the Game of Thrones world and be like, "Come be over. You be over here. Be something." Which, you know, they'd have to be a pretty major character, if for no other reason, because it's pretty clear that Disney is kind of shutting the door on bringing a bunch of smaller, you know, third tier, D-list characters in. But yeah, I definitely. Or if you're going to go down the House of the Dragon way, uh, what is her name? That I can't, I forget, and I just had her name in my head too. That plays Alicent from House of the Dragon, but she would be good. She was, if you remember, she was in Ready Player One, where
yeah.
she played Artemis. It's Olivia Cook, that's her name. She's quite good. I would be down with that. I had another one. I mean, I was thinking Jenna Ortega also. If she was gonna, I would want to see her in X-Men. She's really good in the Scream, the two recent Scream movies, but also she's really good in Wednesday, and she's just got a look. I think Jenna Ortega, physically speaking, she's got a look like she plays Wednesday Addams, so she could definitely be like any sort of kind of like cool. Hell, she could be Zatanna. That would be dope. Why not? I'm with it. I was gonna say Zendaya also, but she was in Spider-Man already, so that's not that doesn't
Yeah,
count.
Zendaya. No, yeah, you can't
She,
use Zendaya.
I mean, I would if I could because like I'd see her in anything. But that the point is she's already kind of done it. Out on the male side, I like John David Washington to join. He would be a hell of a bishop, but he could also be John Jones. John David Washington. Have you seen The Creator? The movie The Creator. It's on Hulu if you haven't seen it, but
No, I
it's a
haven't seen
side.
it yet.
That's Denzel Washington's son. He was also in Tenet. He's good.
Yeah, I saw Tenet recently.
Yeah, he could be bishop, but he could be bishop, but he also could be John Jones, or he could be Steel, or like there's a hell, he could be freaking Green Lantern, John Stewart. I'm just saying, like he's hella talented. He's fairly young. He's not young, but he's it's in his mid late 30s. Maybe even, I don't know if he's 40 something, but he could be in a franchise for 10 years, right? And play a main character. So I don't know. Do you have any other good ones?
Um, who's a legendary actor I really like watching?
I did like you. Well, I want to circle back. Denzel would be good. We were talking about him for being either Professor X or Magneto. I wish they had the balls to do that. They don't. Marvel doesn't have the nuts to do that. It would be dope if they did, though. Giancarlo Esposito, but I mean, I have a feeling you wouldn't have to twist his arm to be a part of anything. Like he'd be like, "Oh, a big fat check? Sure, I'm with. I'll show up. I'll show up and be a bad guy." Or if they had the balls to do it, make him Professor X. I'm just saying.
Huh.
Like, but you got to have the nuts for it. Also, Timothy Chalamet, and he's one that I feel like if Marvel or DC could figure out how to get him to do it, it would be legendary. Like, you remember how Mahershala Ali was like, "I want to be Blade," right? I literally think they should just say, whoever you want to be, we'll make a whole movie about it. Doesn't matter who you're talking about. We will make an entire movie where you're the star and that your character is the star. and like I would be all for it because this dude is like he's absolutely one of the best actors on the planet right now. He's a young. I mean, he's a young guy. He's not. He's. I think what it says. He's 27. He is capable of. I've seen him. Do super serious things, but also he was just in Wonka and he was great. So, figure something out. Hell. Oh, all right. I got it, Lottie. I got it. I know who he should be too. He should. He should be. What the hell is his name? Kurt Connors. He should be. God, why can't I can't say his name right now. Nightcrawler. He should be Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
Fuck yeah. And a whole movie around Nightcrawler. And yeah, I understand he's not like everyone's favorite mutant, but I don't give a fuck. This dude would make an entire movie about Nightcrawler awesome. See, there you go. Those are my three: John David Washington, Timothy Chalamet, and I think I said Jenna Ortega also. But I have one more also. Before I say my one more, I don't know if you had another one that you wanted to mention.
No, not exactly.
How about have you watched Reacher on Prime?
I've watched the first season. Yes.
So, what do you think about him being in the DC or MCU? Alan Ritchson.
I mean, definitely has the build.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him being. He definitely has the build.
And he was in the Titans show as Hawk from Hawk and Dove.
Because if I'm gonna put him in, I want him to be like a main hero. You know what I mean? I would like for him to be a main hero, not just some side hero. Because I don't think they're ever going to redo Arrow like that. So
he could be Bane. He's got the build for it. No, I think if they do Bane at all in the DCU and it's not Dave Bautista, I'm gonna be very disappointed in James Gunn because like it's right there. Like let's just say Dave Bautista because he would absolutely go to the DCU because James Gunn is running it. But look, I'm not kidding. Think about it. What's Bane? Isn't Bane like Mexican or something, or is Latino or something like that? So he's that. He's this big, bulked up dude, and like he's actually a super smart guy. That's Dave Bautista, goddammit. Like I don't think people understand this. Dave Bautista's quite intelligent. He's very intelligent. He's also he is of Latino. I think he's Latino. I mean, like, what do you want? It's literally right there. So, yeah. But yeah, that would be cool. Alan Ritchson, I think he could do pretty much anything. I just don't want him to be Batman. Just like I don't think I'd believe Alan Ritchson as Batman. But put him in hell. Put him in. He could be a Guardian. Not Guardian. He could be a Green Lantern. He could be hell. He could be. He could be. What's his name in Justice League? Not Justice League. Justice. He could be. One of the members of the Justice Society. I think that there's space for him. And also, like I said, he's got the build for it. But my last one is Anya Taylor-Joy, who I think is just an outstanding actor. She has been a comic book thing. She was in New Mutants as Magic. And I'm like, why waste that perfect bit of casting by not if you are gonna do mutants, I wouldn't mind having Magic be one of the mutants. But I think that she could pretty much do any other character also in MCU or DC universe. She could also be Zatanna. That would be cool too. But I just think she's just got too much talent, and to not sort of try to get her into some kind of long-term deal in either of the cinematic universes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but am I wrong about this to think that they better hurry up and like convince these people to sign these contracts because the shine or whatever for being in a cinematic universe seems to have worn off, I think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely is worn off. I feel like they're starting to go back to spy and what's it called movies. You're starting to see those start coming out a lot more often.
Yeah, it's just there. I honestly, the way people are going to the movies, all this high budget stuff, they've got to figure it out. But I mean, if you got a chance to, if Kevin Feige's going to call somebody and be like, get on their knees and be like, please come do our movies, these are definitely some people they should go talk to. So, anyway, if you guys got any ideas, you let us know down in the comments section. And finally, Lottie, I don't know how long this discussion can last, but this is something that's been bugging me for a while. I feel like I've mentioned it
Mhm.
before to you. We've maybe talked a little bit about it, but it's beyond time to start really bringing this up, and that is this: what the fuck is Marvel gonna really talk about the blip? And I'm like, I'm serious. Secret Invasion, they sort of did. They couldn't avoid it because Nick Fury was blipped for 5 years, right? So, and they dropped the ball on not making it more explicitly important to talk about the blip with him. We saw it in the Marvels where the fact that Monica was gone for 5 years and her mom died in those 5 years, that was important, right? It was
Yeah.
an important part of her character. And of course, we talked about it in, WandaVision. Again, it's important to the main character. But as we see from phase 4 and 5, let's think about all the things that are in phase 4 and 5. The only ones that really talked about the blip in any significant way was Spider-Man, the Spider-Man, No Way Home, Far From Home, No Way Home. Uh, the Marvel somewhat, what was it? WandaVision somewhat, but Miss Marvel didn't really. Shang-Chi didn't talk about it. There's a lot of the Eternals didn't really talk about it, right? There's all these movies,
Hmm.
all of these properties. Echo didn't really talk about it. We're sort of having to piece together who was and who wasn't gone. But for the most part, these shows or these movies seem to be treating it as if it's not something important that happened. And like, am I wrong about that? Am I wrong about how I'm looking at this from the perspective of a viewer? No one's freaked out about it. No one's going to support groups. No one's like, "Oh man, remember when you weren't here for 5 years?" No one's saying stuff like that. It's just these specific characters. They are talking about it, but everybody else is acting like nothing happened. Like Lottie, am I off base here?
No, you're not. I mean, bro, you're 100% right. Like, I think it's there's a lot of things in the MCU that I feel that are like not being talked about, and it's kind of frustrating. And like you said, the blip, you only get little small things. You got a little thing in the beginning of Ant-Man Quantumania. You got the little thing of Monica Rambeau showing back up. Just like it's and then like let's just not even talk about the big what's it called? Giant
The Eternal.
petrified,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just chilling in the Atlantic Ocean that no one's talking about. It's just like I I don't know if Marvel feels, I mean, if the MCU feels that if no one talks about it, it will go away, which was a
It's just
famous line by
yeah,
Piccolo.
yeah. It's made just like it's weird to me because this was a huge part of Avengers Endgame. 5 years, the world having to adjust to the fact that half of the population is gone, right? And it's not just Earth, it's everywhere in the entire universe, right? So in the Marvels, yes, they talk about it within the context of Monica and her trauma and whatever. But notice that the Kree aren't talking about. There's no indication that the Kree are bothered by that because remember, this is spoilers for the Marvels, but it's on Disney Plus if you want to watch it. So the point. So on the Marvels, Dar-Benn is mad and trying to take everything out on Carol because Carol ruined the Supreme Mind and that ruined the planet. But here's the deal: if that happened and then half the people were gone, isn't the half the people gone in a snap more of a problem than Captain Marvel's shit? Am I wrong about that? Like, there, I feel like this is indicative of a problem at Marvel, and the problem is that the tight, story management that was going on, where everything sort of made sense within the context of what's going on in the movies. Everyone's sort of, we're all in the same line and everything like that. It's kind of like the branching of the timelines in the TVA, where people are going off and doing their own things that aren't consistent with what we know and understand about the main timeline. And that is that this shit happened. This is, I don't care what anyone says. This is the most important thing that's ever happened in the history of the world, and definitely in the lifetimes of anyone who's alive there. So everyone should be affected by that. This isn't like, the Battle of New York happened, but you live in Mumbai or whatever, and you're just like, well, that sucks. That's weird. Aliens are real. No, this is if there was the Battle of New York happened everywhere at the same time, and everyone was affected by it, and yet no one seems to be too bothered by what's going on. And it's crazy to me that that's true. How can something so earth-shattering happen, and then people go on? I understand people are going to go on with their lives, but people are going on with their lives, and there's not any real consequences to it. No one's making a deal out of it, and I would like for that to be fixed. It's
I agree.
It's crazy to me. And would you also agree that this is a storytelling opportunity that is being squandered?
Very much so. Very, very much so. Like I said, I don't understand what is going on, because, it's been 5 years since this has become a concept, and it's like Marvel's just like, if we don't talk about it, it will go away.
Someone asked a good question, or mentioned something, which was, what did that snap mean for the undead? So Blade's coming out next year, so theoretically. Did the snap kill the vampires? Did it? They're not alive, so are they not included? Could that be that? And I think, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but that could be a good story starter to understand the current state of vampires and everything in the world, is that they didn't get snapped away, so their population stayed the exact same, and maybe Blade was snapped away, and so they kind of they went wild, and for the 5 years he was gone, and when he comes back now, he's got to like start from scratch to start getting their numbers down. That's an interesting story that could be an interesting story that incorporates the blip in a way that matters. But let's just pretend like it doesn't matter at all. We're gonna have Moon Knight, and just throw in a date when he was definitely around to get a passport that was during the time of the blip, and that's all we're gonna say about it. No one else is because remember, all of this is happening. What is it? All of this is happening in post 2023 within the Marvel Cinematic Universe's timeline, right? Their timeline's about 2 or 3 years ahead of ours. So, where we are now, they're probably 2027, whatever. But, what is it? Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier, all that stuff, that happens immediately afterwards. So, there's no news reports. There's nobody talking about it. There's no one, like, losing their fucking shit about the fact that suddenly, 3.5 billion people are back on Earth, or probably 4 billion people are back on Earth, and we don't know what the fuck to do with them. Like, no one's talking about it. It's crazy. It is crazy. It is as if, again, it is as if aliens touched down on Earth, and then the next day everyone acted like it didn't happen. it's anyway. I'm Lottie. Do you think they're going to? Do you think they're going to actually start addressing these things?
No,
You know,
it's been 5 years. It's not happening. Just being honest.
not even in Secret Wars or anything. Do you think that this
Nope.
is an indication maybe that there's the multiverse is happening and we're not seeing the same Earths on all of these movies?
Listen, I don't even want to even think that far. I literally think they're doing. If we don't talk about it, it'll go away. They're literally just. They're literally doing that, and there are people like you that are talking about it, and they're like, "Shh."
This it is it God, that is bothersome. I would just, that's the thing is, don't introduce interesting concepts like
If you're not ready
what
to execute
If
on it.
Avengers Endgame, if they had, the snap had happened, then like 6 months pass and then they go and like do, they do Endgame, right? They fix everything. Cool. I would understand why. I was like, wow, that was a traumatic time, but it was short thanks to the Avengers. No, it's 5 years. 5 years is, you know how long 5 years is? 5 years is long enough for you to be like, well, I guess they're not coming back. It's, if you were, if your loved one went missing, 5 years is the time when which everyone else would have given up and you would have still been going around putting up, missing signs. But everyone else is just like, they're just dead, right? You've moved on. And we've seen that literally within the MCU. People have kind of moved on. They moved and, they got new family, but no one's sitting and talking about the implications of people having a second family when they reasonably thought their other family was all gone. It's anyway. I'm not going to beat this drum anymore. Marvel, I need y'all to just start talking about it at any time. It'll be great if y'all address this awesome concept that should be permeating all of your projects, but instead, you guys are just ignoring it. So let us know what's going on for real. So anyway, I think that's all of our thoughts on that subject. And this has been a cool little nerd discussion topic. But maybe you guys have some questions or comments. You agree or disagree with us about these things, whatever the case may be. Do us a favor, get down there and leave your comment in the comments section. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on not TikTok, on Threads and on Instagram, and super_not_funny show on TikTok. While you're down there, also do us a favor and hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps with the channel, helps more people to see this podcast and other videos that we produce. And if you're listening to us on a podcasting platform, give us a 5-star review or whatever you think we deserve. And of course, can't do this by myself. Need my good friend Lottie to tell me all about why these video games I don't play are good or bad. And also other, comic book related things. So Lottie, where can they reach you on social media?
You always find me on my Instagram, which is Anukinihun, and my YouTube channel, which is Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun, ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. I'm back. I'm back to doing animations. I'm going to start streaming again. Start streaming some matches of Tekken online so you guys can watch me either get a couple of matches of victory or get my ass whooped. But I am also working on a day animation, so keep an eye out for that.
Nice. Yeah, you guys go check that out and keep an eye on the stream. I have Tekken 8 now, and I may be one of those easy dubs that you get. So you guys make sure to go check that out. Show Lottie some love, and continue to show us love. We really appreciate you being here. This is episode 138 of the Supercast. Next week is Madam Web, so woo. Oh, actually, I guess by the time we record again, Madam Web will not have come out yet. but we'll see. And we'll let you guys know what we think about it then. Till then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.